I'm so pogged out. We haven't seen a Big Boss video in a couple of months at least, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I'm super excited. I love Bethesda, by the way, but I also hate Bethesda. It's a part 1 video, by the way. Are you serious? It's a 2-parter? Chat's gonna be 3 hours long because of Alana's yapping. Shut the frick up! It's not gonna be that bad, I promise. Ooh, World of Warships.
The last 30 years have seen a momentous rise in the open world 3D role-playing game, and spearheading this genre,
oh, look at him.
One company.
He's so young.
Adopting new technologies.
It features all new rendering, lighting.
Fallout 4 launch was so bad. It was so bad. It was criminal.
And landscape technology.
Pushing new boundaries and breaking new ground.
That was 76 too.
And spearheading this company, one boyishly handsome man.
Yeah.
It had been a rocky last few years, but in late 2023, he and the team were in the final...
I know you guys are correcting me to 76, but Fallout 4 launch was horrendous too. 76 was worse, but Fallout 4 was also really, really bad.
...works of their next game. The biggest game they'd ever made. More content than their last 2 games combined.
What?
Ready to sweep the Game Awards, as he was now well accustomed, he puts on his leather jacket and emerges once more.
I love Todd! Tell me
but
lies,
first,
tell me sweet little
back.
lies. Oh, we're going back.
It's the 80s, and a man by the name of Christopher Weaver is a person. He'd been doing a few different things. Assistant directing for PBS and ABC, engineering work for MIT, Panavision, and the military, and then some consultancy work on the side. However, sometime around 1985, one of his engineers fancies making an American football game. So Weaver dips his toe into game development and starts work on an engine for it. It's now 1986, and they've just set up shop in a small office in Bethesda, a census-designated place in Maryland. They incorporate and then smash out the game Gridiron by the end of the year.
Yay!
It's one of the first sports games to factor in things like momentum.
Oh no, so this is why Madden is what it is today? Yeah, it's the predecessor, it's the grandpa. What do you think they think of all the monetization in Madden and FIFA?
And collision detection, and features fairly sophisticated movement mechanics for the time. The graphics are also children.
Wow! Look at all those
and
dots!
the game does alright. EA even approaches them with a contract to work on a football game together. However, this ends in a lawsuit, as it turns out the whole thing was allegedly just a ploy to steal their engine code. Anyway, Weaver and the boys decide to apply the same technology to hockey games and start pumping those out. It's now the 90s.
They're making a lot of money.
Expansion. There's now around 20 people at Bethesda, and a lot more going on. So they make the move from Bethesda to a bigger office in Rockville. This place is actually a place.
Wow!
Also, turns out no one currently owns the Terminator license. So they jump on it and start pumping out Terminator games too.
That's smart.
They also start
Good
publishing
money
other
decision.
developers' games. But first, boats. Nice.
What about
relaxing.
boats? Yeah?
Pretty chill.
Okay.
Wait, what's that?
Warships!
In World of Warships, things are different. Command a huge naval fleet and take part in massive battles. Pick from a vast selection of history's most iconic ships and commanders, painstakingly modelled from
Can they put me in World of Warships, please?
historical documents to complete accuracy. Aircraft carriers, battleships, cruisers, and destroyers. The options are plentiful. The gameplay? Dynamic. Different weather effects make each fight different. And the game features a steady flow of new missions, updates, content, and events.
You're a ship with 2 huge cannons. I hate you guys so much. Why do you sexualize me? I'm kidding. I know what I am.
For PvE over PvP, Well, both players are catered to in 7 different battle types, and the game features over 40 maps and 20 ports. Also,
I know what I
3
am.
new Headless Horseman ship skin and Commander have just been added. World of Warships is also free to play. Sign up now through the link in the description, or use the code HEADLESS to get that, plus 7 days premium account time, 1.5 million credits, 500 doubloons, and a free ship after completing 15 battles. It's around 1992 that one of Bethesda's hockey games ends up in the hands of a boy. Now at this point, Todd Howard is young, unassuming. He'd been studying finance in college,
man.
but his real passion was PC gaming. You'd often find him beelining from classes to the school computers to install and play games.
That's so
and
cute.
he's a big fan of the chess club. But right
Look, say what you want, but at least he loved video games. He's not just some soulless corpo.
now, he really likes this hockey game, and turns out, the developer isn't actually that far away.
Oh.
In fact, they were literally on the way back from his college. So in 1993, he knocks on the door and asks for a job. They tell him no. Finish school first.
Back in my day, they could not fucking do that, man. When I finished school, they told me to go fuck myself. Like, it didn't even say, oh, finish school. They just said you can't even get a job. Get real. Get bent. He wasn't back in the day when you could knock on the door and be like, oh, can I have a job? And they're like, yeah, maybe.
He graduates and asks again. Sorry, kiddo. Don't have anything. So Todd gets a job at a different game developer nearby.
Ooh.
This job allows him to go to electronics conventions like CES, where developers could show off their new stuff.
It's a
This is at a point where
gooning.
games are still kind of seen as a joke, and the gaming section is literally tossed at the back. You had to walk past hordes of porn vendors to even get there.
Now, anime used to be treated like that too. Yeah.
But anyway, Todd would use these conventions to track down Bethesda's stores and continue confessing his love.
Oh, he's just like me.
After around a year and a half of this, in 1994, they finally have an opening. And
Chat, this is what it means to be persistent. This is what it means to be persistent. You gotta keep trying and harass them.
Todd Howard is in.
Yay!
Now at this point, Bethesda had
It
released a
works.
good few hockey
It just
and Terminator
works.
games, and things were getting a bit stale. So they decided to branch out, and right around the time Todd had joined, they're putting the finishing touches on something completely different.
What is it? What did they make? Elder
Headed by a man named
Scrolls.
Julian Jensen, and with a team of around 10 people, the Elder Scrolls Arena had now been in development for around 3 years.
Wow.
It had started out as a simple, linear gladiator combat game, but ambitions quickly ballooned. They added side quests, fantasy elements, and some exploration around the
LARPing.
cities. And after some playtesting, you know what? Fuck the arenas. Let's open this whole thing up. And before long,
Wow.
they're building a fully fledged, open-world role-playing game with side quests, explorable cities, and procedural generation.
That's crazy because that usually takes like a game to come out before they make like a sequel that opens up the game. That's kind of what happened with World of Warcraft. People loved Warcraft so much they were like, why don't we make an MMO? This is crazy to like scrap and then like do it anyway.
It's ambitious.
Yeah.
They'd had to create their own proprietary engine specifically for it, and other
Wow.
developers are actually laughing at its scope. But in late 1993,
They proved them wrong.
it's nearing release. And there's a problem. They'd completely switched genres, but the original game's marketing materials had already been printed, resulting in a front cover and half the name having nothing to do with the actual game. At this point, it would be time-consuming and expensive to redo it all, so they
Fuck
end up
it.
just sticking with it. And in 1994, the game hits shelves, and people pick it up.
Uh-oh.
Looks nice.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they don't do that anymore. You can't do that anymore, chat. Having a hot babe on the cover with like no clothes on.
The storyline isn't amazing, the quests are pretty linear, the graphics are only okay, and on launch, the game is absolutely fucked.
I see nothing has changed. Launch is still a disaster. Welcome to Bethesda. In true
There are random crashes, falling through floors, corrupt save files, invisible enemies, quest items not spawning, enemies just walking through walls.
What the hell?
It's also very hard to run, but install the patches coming out every other week, and eventually the game works.
And that's what's beautiful about it. Every other week there's a patch as opposed to every other month.
And it's good.
Yay!
It starts out like any other dungeon crawler at the time, but leave that first dungeon and you can go anywhere.
That's cool.
For starters, the game is absolutely massive. Its map spans an entire procedurally generated
Oh my god, it's
continent,
Mirkwood!
clocking in at around 9 minutes.
Skyrim, Hammerfell, Elsewhere! Oh my god, Somerset! Wait, they actually had Somerset already back then? Damn, that's so cool!
In square kilometers.
Skyrim!
That's over half the size of Russia.
Damn.
There are hundreds of towns, cities, dungeons, and quests to dig through.
That's obscene.
Although again, these are mostly procedurally generated. There's also a ton of NPCs. All are procedurally named
Boobies.
and have their own professions.
Boobies.
They'll even run away if your weapon's drawn. Arena also has a pretty detailed character creation system, with various races, 18 classes, and an attribute system.
Wow!
Also, a cool spellcrafting system, a dynamic weather system.
That's insane! When did this game come out? 1994? That's obscene, actually.
Consistent day and night cycle. Pretty rare at the time.
Yeah.
At night, shops even close. And just like real life, monsters and other creatures start to appear.
It's before most
and the game goes on to sell around 100,000 copies.
That's a lot!
Not a massive success, but it's alright.
Yeah.
And Bethesda hits the green light for a sequel.
100k is a lot for 94. I think, hold on. Diablo 2 launch 2000 sales. On its debut day, Diablo 2 sold 184,000 units, and Blizzard was already established. Actually, 100k is not bad. Yeah, it's pretty good. For like a game like this.
It's now the mid-90s. There are about 40 people at Bethesda, and Todd is handed his first major job. Producer and designer on their next Terminator game, Future Shock, with a team of about 8 people.
That's so cool,
This is one of the first first-person shooters to feature true 3D environments, thanks to their cutting-edge in-house game engine, X Engine. It's also one of the
They
first...
still use that to this day. No, I'm kidding. I actually don't think so, but like, holy crap. Their engine is so old. That's actually a crime how old Bethesda's engine is.
PC games with full 3D mouse look, meaning you can now look up and down.
What?
Despite all of that, it doesn't sell too well.
Aw,
but at the same
that
time,
sucks.
development on Arena's sequel is now well underway, and Daggerfall is shaping up to be one of the largest and most ambitious RPGs ever made. They now had a bigger dev team, around 15 people. However, development is still not fun. 7-hour work days, 18 months of crunch, some weeks 60 hours on the clock minimum.
60 hours minimum.
Or managers would be screaming. Things are so bad. The Terminator game devs are pulled in to help out.
Toxic work environment.
They have limited technology to work with and a far tighter deadline. And again, there are new ideas and features constantly bloating the scope of the game, with a ton of these eventually having to be cut. In-depth housing furnishing, warring factions, cities under siege, advanced AI,
that's cool,
and even multiplayer, all nixed. Naturally, the team is fairly stressed. A decent chunk of staff dip from the company, and one is even hospitalized for a breakdown. Development of this game is such a nightmare, it's almost the end of Bethesda Softworks. But in 1996, after almost 3 years of development, Daggerfall comes out the other side.
Wow!
And it's very good. It also sells very well.
Yay!
Shifting over 100,000 copies in just a few days.
Wow, that's
and eventually,
a lot.
Settling at almost 1 million.
Wow!
Again.
See, that's a big deal too. On Diablo, I remember they hit 1 million within 2 weeks. That's really good.
The game is huge. This time it's set in a smaller, but more fleshed out segment of the continent. This time with around 15,000 towns and cities.
What?
And almost 1 million NPCs.
What?
Who are now also racist. The map is now about 200,000 square kilometers. almost the size of the UK, and this time it's fully consistent, meaning you can actually walk from town to town. One guy on Reddit says walking the map corner to corner took him around 69 hours.
Holy shit!
It's also on Bethesda's new X engine, so enjoy all of that in true 3D.
Wow!
And Daggerfall is packed with new features. Lock bashing, climbing, house and ship purchases, a detailed banking system with letters of credit and loans, horseback travel, an actual legal system with court sessions, and holidays with actual effects on the in-game world.
No way!
Daggerfall is also a far more in-depth RPG. There are massive upgrades to the character system.
You know what's criminal is that Amazon tried to make New World a thing and they couldn't even do half of this, man. Amazon really shit the bed with New World. I genuinely think it could have been like the next really cool MMO that a lot of people liked. But they couldn't even do half of what people did back in 1994, man.
Now features 35 skill lines, including parkour, speechcraft, and the ability to learn enemy languages. Also, instead of leveling up and manually choosing which skills to improve, skills go up by just doing the skill. There are also now joinable factions, like the Fighters,
the
Thieves,
Guild!
and Mages Guild,
I love
an
the
upgraded
Thieves
dialogue
Guild, it's
system,
awesome.
and a whole reputation system to boot, with factions, cities, provinces, lower classes, and upper classes, all having their own opinion of you.
If you start a fight with me, you thug scum.
Your alignment with factions even changes the end of the game. Naturally, Daggerfall ends up being an absolutely huge install, around 400 megabytes.
Wow, 400 megs. Holy crap. That's a lot, guys. Chat, hold on. I gotta hold the phone. How big is my model? I'm pretty sure it's like 14 gigabytes. My model to run on VTube Studio is like 14 gigabytes, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Common VTube Studio data streaming models. There we go. Okay, let me double check. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, all my models is probably like 14 gigs combined. With all my crap in there, yeah.
Bear in mind though, this is at a time where most games clock in at around 10 megabytes.
Yeah, this
and
is
hard
obscene.
drives only really go up to about 1 gigabyte. Again, it's also very hard, and the game has horrific technical issues. This is actually much worse than Arenas, so Bethesda gets back on the patch mill. But even still, the game remains very buggy to this day.
Oh, it's someone keeps saying it's called Buggerfall.
In December 1997, they released a linear dungeon crawler called Elder Scrolls Battlespire. It does terribly.
Oh.
In October 1998, they released Elder Scrolls Redguard. This is a 3D action-adventure game inspired by Tomb Raider. It also does terribly. In fact,
You guys
these
gotta
games
stick
do
to what
so
you do
badly,
good, man.
the company's now in financial ruin because of them, and they're now downsizing massively.
Oh no!
During this time, a ton of devs hit the road, including Julian LaFay and most of the original team.
Aww.
Things are bad. So in an attempt to get their hands on some more cash, Bethesda restructures. And in 1999, Chris Weaver brings in a guy called Robert Altman to co-
Okay, but hold on. If this was 2025, Tencent would have bought them. They didn't just restructure and almost go bankrupt. Nobody bought them out. So, W.
found ZeniMax Media, Bethesda Softworks' new parent company. Now Altman is a well-connected lawyer, and with him now in the picture, Bethesda can get some serious investment. So Weaver steps down from CEO to CTO, and Altman steps up. Robert Altman has a completely clean history, with no scandals at all. A couple years later, and in 2001, the publishing and development arms of Bethesda split. The publishing arm staying as Bethesda Softworks, and the development team becoming Bethesda Game Studios. They all remain in the same building. However, there's a situation brewing. The dot-com bubble has just burst, and trillions of dollars are currently being vaporized from the stock market.
Holy
Bethesda is
shit!
hit hard. And now even more developers are leaving or getting the sack. On the board of directors, serious bad vibes. They're currently doubting the whole enterprise, and there's growing tensions between Weaver and other executives, but particularly Robert Altman. Weaver is focused on the technology and innovation in the games. Altman on the finances and profits of the company.
Oh yeah, I love
and these
money.
clash. And eventually, it comes to a head. And Altman usurps the throne.
You know how much I sacrificed?
He kicks Weaver out of his own company entirely in 2002.
That's savage. He just straight up cuts him out of the company.
First time.
And stacks the board with his own guys. This results in a nasty lawsuit.
That's
It's
so
around the same time
bad.
that the few developers left
This might as well have been a takeover, man. Like Tencent.
at Bethesda
That's
are putting their heads
bad.
together for what they think could be their
Is
last
Todd
game.
gonna save the day?
When work on Morrowind began, things didn't look great. After a big wave of layoffs, there are about 30 people left at the company.
Yikes.
This includes a development team of just 7 people. As the
What?
director of the Elder Scrolls Redguard, as well as one of the few developers actually left, Todd is now the project lead.
Yeah.
And in late 2001, he calls in the boys. Listen lads, this could well be the very last thing we're ever gonna make. If we don't nail this, we're cooked. See,
He's right.
Morrowind originally started out much grander in scope, but they'd made that mistake twice before, and development wasn't a great time. This time, they could not miss. So Todd's deciding to dial it back a bit, and attempt a more focused development. The procedural stuff, that's getting flushed.
Okay.
This thing was going to be fully handcrafted from the ground up.
That's good.
Also, that 3D engine of theirs, in the bin too. They're now using an engine called Gamebryo, and naturally, this new engine changes the game a lot. They're now able to create a far more detailed world,
So
enhanced
good.
graphics.
So fucking good. Oh my gosh, so cool. I played it once when I was a little kid. I didn't understand what the hell was going on, but it was so magical to me. I only played it like a little bit later, like when I grew up a bit. But my brother said he loved this game.
Physics and lighting.
Water
Also,
and lava.
more complex scripting and AI.
Talk to me. Who's there? Who's there? If you talk to someone while invisible,
Who's
they
there?
react to that. Todd, you've done it again.
Despite all of this, development is still
Todd.
horrific, with 7-day work weeks at points. But after a small delay to May 2002, after 5 years, the next Elder Scrolls is ready to release. Morrowind is a completely new Elder Scrolls experience.
Oh my god, how much gooning do you think those people did back in the day when it came out? Like, I don't even know, man. Look at those girlies.
Instead of the
Wow.
procedural towns, cities, and quests, players step foot into a rich, handcrafted world, just bursting with detail.
He's out of control, this robots.
Not just the world. Pretty much every NPC, including random bandits, are handcrafted too, with their own custom names, stats, and often backstories or notes.
Wow.
Its storyline is very well written. It spans politics, philosophy, and religion.
Yeah.
And it's all layered and ambiguous. Every quest in the game,
Matters.
also handcrafted, and includes a ton of player choice throughout, with branching, interconnected quest lines that are approachable in different ways. It's immersive too. You can kill
My brother told me he played this game like at least 10 to 12 times, and it still was different almost every single time. Again, I wasn't super fond of this game because I didn't grow up with it, but he said this was amazing.
every single NPC in the game,
so
even if
cool.
it ruins your main quest.
What have I done?
There's basically no fast travel beyond paid transportation services from city to city, and there's no quest markers.
So
or even a
immersive.
compass. If you want to finish a quest or track somewhere or someone down, you'll have to ask the locals. The world itself, unique indeed. Interesting architecture, outlandish creatures,
So
and big
cool.
mushrooms. And due to the new engine, it's alive, with items all over the
It's
map that you can pick up
live.
and drop. Also, this time round, they'd gone with a guy called Jeremy Soule for the sound.
Oh my god, Jeremy Soule is one of the best composers in the last, probably 50 years, man. He's so amazing. I love his music. He did the Harry Potter soundtrack for one of the PC games that my parents had, that they bought for my brother, and I played it later. And, oh my god, it's so beautiful. He's so good. Genuinely, one of the best composers.
Soundtrack. And new music.
Oh
Good.
my gosh. Cinema!
NPCs get an upgrade. There's now some light voice acting, and the game introduces a disposition system, meaning every NPC either likes you or hates you, depending on your personality, speechcraft, general reputation, and race.
Wow.
Okay, you're good to go.
Fucking Dunmer hate everyone. Yeah, you're good. You're Dunmer.
Morrowind
Fucking
also
racist.
introduces leveled zones. See, a ton of enemies in the last 2 games scaled to the player's level. You leveled up a bunch and improved your skills. Well, unlucky. So has everyone else. But here, certain areas will have higher level enemies and loot. Meaning exploration is more dangerous, but more rewarding as you get better. On PC, Morrowind also ships with the Elder Scrolls construction set. Essentially,
What? I didn't even know
the
that.
original dev tools Bethesda had used to actually make the game.
I don't know if they do that now. Not gonna lie. I miss when studios let you have fun. Blizzard used to do this as well, by the way, with the Dota map editor. And now you can't even do that anymore because they're scared of someone making another Dota and then losing the rights to that because they're paranoid as fuck.
Every aspect of the game, from
Yeah.
landscapes to graphics to quests, anything you could hope for,
Wow.
are now open to
Boobies.
modification.
Yes! Gooning!
It's not all good though. The combat in Morrowind is incredibly clunky
No, it's
and works
ass.
on dice rolls. Just very clearly hit that guy at point blank range. No, turns out you missed. Also, bad balancing. And there are a few things missing from Daggerfall.
You have to cheese a
The
lot.
lock bashing, climbing, housing in ships, banking system, horse travel, in-game holidays, and legal system all gone. And of course, again, the game is buggy, suffers from bad performance.
Well, that's expected. I don't know. I feel like you should expect that at this point. Wait! Balmoricaius Cosades' house? Is this my mod's house? Look, Caius! Wow.
And is hard to
They
run.
put him in the game before
But
he was
overall,
born.
Morrowind is an amazing game, and it flies off shelves. It's revolutionary, a way bigger success than they'd ever anticipated. It sells over 4 million copies in the first 3 years.
Holy smokes.
Critical acclaim
What?
coming in from all directions. It's even
That's
crowned
insane.
Game of the Year. Bethesda also
Deserved.
shipped it on the original Xbox for the first time.
Oh my
This
god.
is at a time where
This was revolutionary. Oh my gosh. It got an entirely new audience of people who were set to play only on consoles for whatever reason, and they finally had an RPG. RPGs were generally only for freaking PCs, for sure.
RPGs are more PC focused.
Yeah, for
So it's
sure.
now reaching a whole new market.
Wow!
And it goes on to be the 18th best-selling game on that console.
Wow.
Morrowind conjures a massive profit, and Bethesda finally has some financial breathing room.
Woo! Oblivion.
After
Oblivion.
Morrowind, Todd is hailed as a king, Bethesda's savior. Under his direction, he'd brought the company back from the brink, so naturally, he's back in the cockpit for their next project. Bethesda also doubles up their
Oblivion.
workforce with some of that new cash. They've also just gone in on new technology. For the first time, they're playing around with the Havoc physics engine, alongside a new world rendering system. They're also bulking up on the voice acting. In Morrowind, only a few key characters were voiced, but here,
They had to cut corners somewhere. Again, it's expected of Bethesda, but I don't know. I get it. Voice acting can be expensive.
Todd wants everyone, and the script for the game ends up at around 40,000 lines of dialogue. That's about 50 hours of audio.
Wow.
An issue. This ends up taking over half the game's file size, so they end up having to trim thousands of voice lines and a ton of already developed game features.
And now we get the infamous Oblivion VAs.
Just so it'd fit on the 360 disc. Yeah. Like the first game, arenas were supposed to be in every city in the game, and it was all pretty much done here. But again, it had to go.
That's why they sound so
May
ridiculous,
2005.
bro.
It's E3, and promises are hefty. Todd jumps on the mic himself and fills us in on his new Radiant AI system.
Let's take a look at the other side of the game, our new Radiant AI system.
Oh my
It allows
God.
NPCs to have full 24/7 schedules. These NPCs are not scripted.
This was mind-blowing, man. Having to stalk someone and find them in the night to kill them, and finding out where they live is again so immersive. Ah!
In the demo, he even shows off a bit of his own voice acting.
What? That really pisses me off.
No! What do we do? I'm so scared.
Anyway, 4 years in the oven, and on the
Thanks,
20th
Todd.
of March 2006,
Thank you.
Elder Scrolls Oblivion is finally ready. And again, it's good. The combat is far better.
Yeah.
For starters, you can now actually hit things. And when you do, the new Havoc physics engine makes for incredibly realistic, true-to-life ragdolls. Also,
Wonderful.
if you can see something, chances are you can now pick it up and swing it round.
Yeah!
The graphics are also much better. Just don't look at the NPCs. The new rendering system allows for huge load distances, meaning none of that thick fog that was literally everywhere in Morrowind.
Yeah.
And the world is populated with luscious.
Well, that's actually a really funny point. Back in the day when games couldn't like render things like that, that's how Silent Hill became so foggy, because they couldn't render it that far, and that became part of the game. Like, it's smart, but it's funny to think about, you know?
Thick shrubbery, thanks to a new
Yeah, the
technology
draw
called
distance
speed
wasn't
tree.
available.
Also, again, enjoy all of this with another amazing
Oh my
soundtrack from
God.
Jeremy Soule.
Thank you.
While the main quest
So
is incredibly
awesome.
repetitive, the side quests and faction quest lines in Oblivion, sublime. They're really well written and very fun.
The Thieves
In
Guild
fact,
one is
they're generally
awesome.
considered to be the best in the series. The Dark Brotherhood questline is especially popular.
Oh my gosh. I had a friend that unironically became obsessed. I had a friend that I made on World of Warcraft that said that the only reason they rolled a rogue was because of the Dark Brotherhood questline in Oblivion. Because they played it as a child and they wanted to be a rogue so badly. Because of all the fucking cool shit that happens in the quest. Yeah, very powerful. Very powerful.
And of course, all NPCs are now voiced.
Not bad. Good to hear.
Goodbye.
There's even some
Bye-bye.
celebrities in here. However,
What?
this doesn't come without issues. There are over 1,000 NPCs in the game, and there are
Oh.
only around 10 voice actors between them. Naturally, you'll be hearing some of those voices a lot. One guy
no.
alone voices every single guard in the game, and a ton of other characters.
Stop right there, criminal scum! Stop! You violated the law.
I feel like it has its charm, though. Honestly, I think this is hilarious.
I'm a guard, and I love my job.
I love my
Run into
job.
trouble, come find me.
Players also notice some of the voice acting isn't amazing.
No.
Turns out, when recording the voice lines, Bethesda had opted not to go in order of conversations, characters, or even just chronologically, but to go through every voice actor's line alphabetically, meaning
This is so stupid. I feel like it wouldn't be Oblivion if they did it correctly. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the scuff The scuff has to, like, exist in order for it to be Oblivion.
Voice actors had pretty much no idea what the actual context of their lines were. Brilliant. Actors
Awesome.
also just switch voices randomly halfway through dialogue.
I could be banished for telling you.
Okay, I'll show you.
And the
They didn't even have voice acting director to, like, keep track. They just let them do whatever the fuck they want. That's so good. I don't know, man. It's so funny.
legitimate voice acting mistakes are just left in the game.
All on the same night.
Oh.
Wait a minute, let me do that one again. I heard
What? Are you...
For telling you.
Okay, I'll show you.
And legitimate voice acting mistakes are just left in the game.
all on the same night. Wait a minute, let me do that one again. I heard the thieves broke
Immersion increased to 100.
Had also noticed something
I'm very
new.
immersed
A
right
lot
now.
of features from the older games were
Wait
missing.
a minute, what?
What happened? Well, back during development, and Todd had looked at Morrowind. We made a great RPG here, boys. A ton of freedom. How can we remove and streamline as much of it as possible? And they got to work.
The Todd.
Morrowind's nuanced storyline with conflicting goals and intersecting quest lines between factions. Cool, but confusing. Too much choice. Make it far simpler and completely linear. Also, let's remove any skill requirements for advancing in factions. So now literally anyone can become the head of any faction. You're playing a bare-knuckle barbarian who's never used a spell in his life. Excellent choice for the head of the Mages Guild. It was pretty cool how we let the player kill anyone in Morrowind, but too much room for error.
They did streamline it a lot. That's actually a really good point. It becomes like a grindy game, though. I don't know. I feel like I understand the old fans being upset over this is understandable.
Move that feature and make a ton of NPCs invincible. Morrowind's quests were pretty good, but there's way too much thinking involved.
True.
Let's slap a compass on the bottom of the screen with a constant quest marker on top, so players can mindlessly follow it around for the entire game, with no option to turn it off.
Yeah.
Scaled leveling. Let's bring it
Immersion
back.
breaking.
Rewind time.
Let's also bring back generic, procedural enemy spawns. And let's implement them so badly, all enemy spawns eventually become huge damage sponges that can take you out in a few hits unless you level efficiently. It's apparently actually easier to complete the game at level 1 than any other level because the enemies get so
right.
OP.
Wow, 2
Yeah.
hits and you're down. It is evolving just backwards.
Also,
Yeah.
is
That is a very dumb thing to do.
Petty Bandit donning Daedric armor?
Scaling, ugh.
In Morrowind, the main way of fast traveling is paying for public transport that takes you from city to city. But for Oblivion, let's just add free fast travel from anywhere on the map, so you can go anywhere you've discovered, at any point, at no cost.
Boing.
Now let's remove a ton of skills. Dumb down spellcrafting,
Yep.
and remove spears, throwing weapons, medium armor, and a ton of spells. Perfect. And by this point, players are noticing a common theme here with Bethesda games. They had a certain charm to them, and
A very
Oblivion
bad
was no
charm.
different. Despite Bethesda releasing a number of patches, a ton of bugs are still present. So modders just end up creating their own patch for the game.
Yep.
Fixing
And they still use it to this fucking day.
bugs that
By
Bethesda
the way,
never did. The jank was expected, but players had noticed something new with Oblivion. There were some inconsistencies between what Todd had promised
These NPCs are not scripted.
and what players had actually purchased. See, at E3, Todd had made some pretty big
You're telling me Todd lied back in the day before anyone ever even noticed online? Tell me sweet little lies. It just works. It just works, chat.
claims about their new Radiant AI. This new AI would include full schedules for every single NPC in the game and incredibly complex AI scripting.
Whoa.
True NPC intelligence.
Real.
Guards now patrol the cities and react to in-game events and your reputation. Regular
So
NPCs
good,
even
man.
follow daily routines and eat, sleep, farm, work, and socialise at specific times and in specific areas. They'd now also have conversations not just with the player, but with each other. Todd and the team had even spent time and a ton of money having conversations in real life, and spent hours modelling them for in-game adaptation. They come out incredibly lifelike.
A vampire hunter named Raymil Draelus made his way into town, snuck into his house and killed him.
Good day.
Good to
Quality. For sure.
see you. I don't know you,
Good day.
and I don't care to know you. I don't know you, and
Let's
I
hear
don't
it.
care to know you.
Did you?
I don't know you, and I don't care to know
What's
you.
this about?
I don't know you, and I don't care.
But turns out
It just works. I don't even know. Walmart dialogue. I don't think you go to Walmart and the people loop their conversations, man. Just like real life. Man, where do you guys live?
out. On release, the NPCs weren't quite as intelligent as Todd had let on.
No.
Milos, hello.
That NPC said the other NPC's name. That never happens.
So she's picked up a bow over here.
Wait, what?
She's decided she needs ammo, so she equips the quiver.
NPCs never
And she
did
can
that.
practice her skills. So she's going to drink this potion. It's going to increase her marksman skill.
Dude, that's crazy cool. That was never in Oblivion. None
Yep.
of this made it into the game. The AI was so dumb.
Blizzard did this too. They shipped World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King with a lot of missing promised things that were on the box, but they never put in the game. Even to this day, they never put it in.
Bethesda would go on to claim that AI was too smart and had to be dumbed down.
Snow. We need more snow.
More snow!
Can't have enough snow.
Yeah, Snow Fox.
Indeed.
Then, post-launch, Bethesda crank out a few expansions, like they did with Morrowind. They're highly rated. However, this time round, they're also selling small, downloadable item packs on the store. And the first of these, a $2.50 piece of horse armor.
So it begins, chat. So it begins.
Bethesda had just released one of the industry's first microtransactions.
Literally the first to make it, by the way. Not like they got the inspiration from somewhere else. They just decided to do it.
Naturally, people aren't too happy.
How much horse armor did you sell?
It. People will buy anything.
But
He just straight up said it? I mean, he's not wrong, chat. He's not wrong.
regardless, despite the complaints here and
He's
there,
not wrong.
Todd's direction works wonders again.
People will cry, but they will still consume. Do you know how pissed people were when the stupid the stupid Pegasus, flying Pegasus came out in Wrath of the Lich King during Ulduar? Do you know how pissed people were? And how many people we saw at the auction house flying around with those things? A lot. Yeah, the Sparkle Pony. Yes. Yes. It gave you free it gave you free flying too, by the way. You didn't have to pay gold for it.
The game goes mainstream and does very well, selling over 2 million copies within the first few weeks, and becoming one of the fastest selling 360 titles at the time. Also, Game of the Year again.
Yep.
Nice one, boys.
Expected. Fallout 3, let's go!
Oblivion had taken 4 years and a ton of cash. So ZeniMax says, hey, we should probably get something else going here. And Todd and the boys make a list. They go through various genres, but eventually, one rises to the top.
Ooh.
Nuclear post-apocalypse.
Oh my god. That was like when I fell in love with Bethesda. Yeah, little did I know. I was getting fleeced by Todd.
What Todd really wants to do is a Fallout, but getting the rights to that IP, highly unlikely. So they work on concepts for a new IP they were calling Apocalypse Road. However, at Interplay, Fallout's current rights holders and finances aren't looking great. It's so bad that even been in talks to sell the series back to its original creators. Well, turns out someone at Bethesda knows someone at Interplay, and they'd managed to sneak in a bit themselves. And Todd and the boys managed to snag the whole franchise for around $6 million.
Wow.
Not bad.
That's not bad at all.
And with a dev team now of around 75 people, they get to work. This time round, Todd has a bit of a task ahead of him. They're working with the same Gamebryo engine from Oblivion, meaning they now have to turn the bones of a hack-and-slash fantasy game into a dense, urban, post-apocalyptic shooter. They're building gun combat from scratch here, and on one of the jankiest engines out there. But after a few years, things start to come together, and the game's in the final stretch. So as is now customary, at E3 2007...
God, it makes me so sad that COVID killed E3, man. But then again, like, games are kind of dying by that point. E3 is, like, so nostalgic.
Todd spawns on stage and runs us through the game.
Oh my god.
Static to show publicly for the first time here today.
Oh my god.
Fallout 3 demoed live.
Oh my god.
Here we have an iBot broadcasting the word of the U.S. government.
I will fight
to
protect you. I am your...
Is that Trump?
You. I am your president. Of law and order. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets.
And on the
I feel like it wouldn't be too far off to actually have one of these iBots going around and, like, repeating what Trump says in a post-apocalyptic word. They're eating the cats! They're eating the dogs!
28th of October, 2008. Fallout 3 comes out.
So good, man.
Now, the first two Fallouts, generally considered two of the best RPGs ever made.
I actually watched my brother play Fallout when I was a little kid, too. On his little laptop. A shitty laptop, granted, but yeah. Whenever I remember that Bethesda's led by Todd, my inner Fleekicide wants to come and dunk on him. Yeah, but he's so charming. It's like, you love to hate Todd. Like, you love to hate him. He's not like, I fucking hate this guy, but you just love him, you know?
So the bar for Fallout 3, pretty high. But Bethesda delivers on a few points. First off, they'd nailed the look and tone.
Yeah.
Fallout 3 carries...
The music and the ambience in Fallout, honestly, is one of the best. It's so just amazingly immersive.
The aesthetics of the first two games into 3D well. It was perfect. Bleak and gritty, retro-futuristic, a dash of dark humour, and then that 2000s piss filter slapped on top. The soundtrack, this time by new composer, Inonzer, a smash hit again.
Really good.
And if you're not a fan, just hit the new in-game radio and roam the post-apocalyptic wasteland, absolutely annihilating people to pleasant 40s jazz.
Yeah.
The map has amazing environmental storytelling.
You'll find skeletons at the vault door, remains of people pleading and begging to be let in and saved from this approaching doom.
And some pretty interesting locations, like a vault filled with endless clones of a man named Gary.
Gary! 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 Gary!
Gary!
Gary!
And the Republic of Dave.
I am Dave, President of the Republic of Dave. You will address me as Mr. President, or I will have you executed.
There's also slavery.
Mister, can you get us out of here?
Oh yeah, child slavery. Yeah, that's a thing.
Thanks for nothing, ass.
School racism.
You know anything about the tower? Oh, really? You goddamn bigot.
Genocide.
I mean, those damn smoothskins had it coming.
And political undertones. The gameplay, not amazing.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Janky, floaty movement, combined with awkward gunplay, can make for some horrific shootouts. So Bethesda adapts the VATS system from the
Really
first
good
games.
idea. Actually, unironically, really good idea that they add the VAT system, because holy crap, the gun combat is so bad. I like VATS. No, I love VATS. I'm saying the actual in-game shooting is fucking horrendous. Having VATS, like, actually saved the game. I don't think it would have been that popular of a game if it didn't have VATS.
Meaning you can now pause the game, lock onto specific body parts,
God,
and blow
man.
people to pieces in cinematic slow motion.
And you always have to take the one that does more damage if you critically hit and then explodes them. Bloody Mess perk? Yeah, I think it's called Bloody Mess, isn't it?
People
Always gonna get that
love
one.
That's the good. Other aspects of Fallout 3, wild misses. Again, the game reuses a ton of voice actors,
Yeah, the story's not
resulting
great.
in everyone sounding the exact same. One of your companions even has the same exact voice as every raider in the game.
Yeah.
The combat AI sucks. They have
It's a
no
DLC.
concept of cover, so they'll just strafe left and right and
True.
beeline straight towards you. And of course, the usual Bethesda jank. Game breaking, quest breaking, file corrupting bugs,
Oh
crashes,
yeah.
horrific performance.
I remember, oh my god, this is like PTSD to like learning how to save in the game. I remember one time I sat down at the computer to play for like 4 hours. And this was my first experience of having to like constantly save in a video game. I didn't save for 4 hours, like not even autosave, because autosaving made my fucking computer lag. Well, it wasn't my computer, it was my brother's computer, but it would make it lag, so I would have to manually save every time, and I didn't do that. And I remember I died and I fucking didn't have a load save for 4 hours, and I stopped playing the game for 3 hours. Not for 3 hours, for 3 months, because I was so upset. I didn't want to replay it, man. Oh my god, I actually cried. I remember I was crying in front of the computer. I came back after 3 months, but I was still like scarred. I was like, I don't want to do this again, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
On PS3, and the realistic ragdolls return.
Yep.
There's also no field of view slider on PC, even
Kinda
though you
cringe.
can easily change it via console commands.
Oh,
also,
yeah.
again, the RPG elements. Where are they?
Yeah.
Some elements from the originals have come back.
New Vegas brought back the RPG elements just a little bit.
Drug addiction, the special system, perks, skills, and speech options.
It's
But
okay.
even then,
It's alright.
some of them are gimmick. For starters, speech. The
Yeah.
dialogue in Elder Scrolls games basically amounted to running up to someone and just shouting rumors at them. But this wouldn't cut it for a Fallout game, which had tons of choice and consequences in dialogue. And in Fallout 3, it's much worse. Fallout's original speech checks are subtle. The game doesn't actually show you speech options you haven't.
I actually think that was a bit of a crime. Yeah, like, I honestly think that seeing your speech checks was a bit of an immersion breaker. I thought it was dumb that you could see.
Unlocked, and doesn't even tell you when it is a unique option.
Yeah.
So you need to actually read and think about what you pick. In Fallout 3, even if your speech isn't high enough, the system works on percentages.
Yeah, so you could hit a 4%. I remember that.
So either way, you still have a
I remember I cheesed one of the dialogues for like a really big fight, and I didn't want to do it because I was really bad at the game. I was a kid. And I remember saving the game right before that speech dialogue and just doing it over and over and over again until I got the 4% or the 2%. Yeah, I think that, again, I don't think that's okay, but like, yeah, it's possible.
chance to succeed.
Yep, save scum.
Doesn't work
Yeah, I
the
was a little
first time.
bitch.
Just reload the game till it does.
Yep.
In 1 and 2, dialogue choices could make a major difference in the way things panned out, and would also often vary based on
I don't do that anymore. I'm just saying I was a little kid. I was bad at the game. I'm just saying that I think that it's not a good thing to have available.
specific skills, special attributes, or traits. But for 3, Todd just said nah. Let's stick with just speech, and a handful of instances with very select perks.
Yeah.
Speech options in 3 are also far less consequential. The first 2 Fallout games were very involved, in-depth RPGs with branching storylines, open-ended quests.
You actually had to read terminals. I remember my brother bitching about that. You had to read the terminals to like get it. like understand the game. Otherwise, you have to go and like find. You have to go and find a guide. Feet. We don't have feet on the screen.
And a ton of skill checks. Also, a ton of impactful decisions that shaped the world around the player.
Oh yeah.
And contributed to a ton of different endings.
Wow.
But, like for Oblivion, the quests in Fallout 3, very linear. You're on a fixed path for pretty much the whole game, and most quests have one outcome. And that
yeah. Again, the story in Fallout isn't amazing, I'll admit that. Madam, do you like my new Discord profile picture? This better be good. Why is the border feet? You can get an emoji border with feet in it. Alright, I'm done. Can we ban this guy?
one outcome normally involves this. The first games also allowed you to kill everyone in the game.
Yeah!
Here,
even kids! You can kill kids in Fallout!
1/3 of the characters are now unkillable. Before, you'd work to piece together breadcrumbs of information from NPCs, work out where to go and what to do, and the world and quests would open up organically from there. But in Fallout 3, again, they slap a quest marker on your screen and you end up just following that for the rest of the game. The game is also very easy. In 1 and 2, resources were scarce, and you had to plan accordingly, but not here. There are weapons and armor laying about everywhere, and it's not long before you're absolutely loaded with caps and ammo, and constantly over-encumbered.
There was also a caps abuse bug a long time ago as well, I remember that. Again, do you want ease of access so everybody can enjoy it, or do you want to make it really, really hard for the average person? Because unironically, Fallout 1 and 2 was extremely difficult. I don't know. I think that you can find a median ground for like not making it too easy but still making it hard enough.
Bethesda adds enemy scaling again, meaning everyone on the map is roughly the same level as you.
So dumb.
Both Fallout 1 and 2, and Oblivion and Morrowind, had joinable factions, but for Fallout 3, nah, leaving out. Can't join them?
I thought you could still join the Brotherhood of Steel, or is that the DLC? No, it was the DLC. Yeah, never mind. Okay, yeah, it was DLC. Very cringe.
And there's not even a reputation system for them. Instead, they'd just added the karma system from Fallout 2. And this is a bit flawed. Did you just steal a shoe?
What are you doing? Me?
Nothing?
Just hanging around.
Well, the whole town is now coming to murder you. As a
Every time I heard the bad noise, it made me scared when I was a kid. The little shh.
result of all of this, Fallout is essentially no longer an RPG. It's an action RPG with bad action. Also, by this point, key writers and designers dating back to Morrowind had begun to leave the company. Not good. So Todd sniffs around for replacements, and eventually, he lands on a bloke called Emil Paliarulo, the guy who wrote Oblivion's Dark Brotherhood questline. He's now head writer and designer.
Okay.
Sweet. The Dark Brotherhood questline was really good, so that's a good choice. One problem. This guy's actually not great, and now he's no longer working on individual quests, more like the whole overarching story, character arcs, themes, choices, and consequences for the entire game. As a result, Fallout 3's story and quest design, very underwhelming.
Yeah,
the entire
you
main
can tell.
quest consists of just following the trail of your dad out in the wasteland, and then being bossed around by other people. It's completely linear, with only a couple of choices determined by a single press of a button right at the end. There aren't no choices in the game. See, Emil actually has a very big overarching question. Do you want to be extremely good or cartoonishly bad?
Yeah.
Because those are your only choices. In 1 and 2, choices are generally nuanced. There are pros and cons to each option. But here, no.
No.
Here, you can absolutely annihilate this entire town with a nuke for basically no reason.
And you're evil as fuck.
A very real moral dilemma. The characters are bland, and the writing is generally pretty terrible.
Ghouls living here? You're serious?
This is
the dialogue and the voice acting was good, but the story was just terrible.
some dialogue from what's supposed to be the dramatic climax of the game.
Do whatever you want. There's no need for more violence. Then you will immediately hand over all materials related to this project.
You can't help him, you can't do anything.
Run.
And then your dad just dies. I was so pissed when I played this game as a kid, man. I was so upset. I was like, your dad just fucking dies like that?
What is he doing in there?
Also, end up nuking that whole town, killing everyone there for absolutely no reason. This is your dad's response.
Honestly, I have a hard time believing you. I raised you to be better than that. Better than the wastes. We'll talk more about this later.
At the end of the game, the story's supposed to culminate in the player sacrificing themselves in a chamber of radiation to save the wasteland. Hold on, I have a radiation-resistant super mutant right next to me. He can go in, save everyone, and then no one has to die.
I'm sorry, my companion, but no.
People complain, and writers eventually give in, spitefully adding this ending in with a paid DLC.
And so it was that the lone wanderer ventured forth from Vault 101, but the child refused to follow the father's selfless example.
The DLC also revives the player, making the whole point of the end of the game redundant. Also, fun fact about this DLC, the intro features a moving train sequence. But because the Gamebryo engine is so crusty, encoding in a moving train would have taken a while. The train is actually a piece of armor the player equips right before the cutscene.
I've played this game probably a total of like, if I had to lowball, probably 500 hours, and I would have never guessed. I would have never guessed. I played the DLC probably like 3 times. Yeah, I'm lowballing, by the way. It's probably more like 1,000, but I don't know. I don't remember. I was a kid, and I didn't have Steam yet.
Anyway, the original Fallout games...
What do you mean, how? Mods? You guys have never played a game like a million times? Guys, we didn't buy new games when I was a kid all the time. This is all we had. I'm just saying, it's not that far-fetched.
Had a ton of different endings based on your actions.
Oh yeah.
Here, Todd Howard had claimed an insane 200 endings for the game.
Everything gets a bit big, so as of last week, we're over 200 endings. That is not an exaggeration.
Fallout 3 had 2 endings. Regardless, the game does amazingly. First week sales of around 5 million.
What?
$300 million generated instantly.
You've got mail.
That's insane.
And despite the consistent dumbing down and streamlining of their games, Todd does it again. It wins Best RPG.
Well, you cater to like the average Joe. Yeah.
RPG at the Game Awards, and a ton of Game of the Year awards at other places. Todd Howard is now 3 for 3.
I did the Game of the Year edition. My brother bought that. Yeah.
The year is now 2010. Bethesda Game Studios is a team of around 100 people, and they're riding high.
Yay!
Both Oblivion and Fallout 3, big wins. Todd had found himself a golden formula here, and he wasn't changing it anytime soon.
Oh yeah.
Now, it had been about 4
fixing it.
years since Oblivion, so the hype for the next Elder Scrolls, quite high. E3 2010. Todd emerges on stage through a sea of vape mist. He weaves between a group of bald men in robes, while epic chanting music plays. This Todd seems different. He's sporting a slick brown leather jacket.
I love leather.
On his face, a sly smirk. Gone was the quiet confidence.
He knows what he's about to do.
Now, he's glowing. Anyway, Elder Scrolls 5 is about to be revealed.
Dun, da, da, dun, Dovahkiin, da, 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 da,
Wow. And they go on a marketing frenzy.
Whatever you say, Mr. Billboard.
A ton of television ads, expensive live trailers, and stuff like this.
Holy!
In promotional material, Todd is getting increasingly unhinged.
When you walk into town, we can have it look for someone with a child. We can have that child kidnapped and put in a dungeon nearby.
Forget the dungeon, children.
What? Someone put a leash on this man. Who told him to say that?
The game looks fantastic, and it's launching
It was
soon.
amazing.
People are very hyped. And on the 11th of the 11th, 2011, it's go time.
Amazing.
For starters, the art direction here, incredible.
Is it a lizard mane? The Argonian maid? Yeah. Fucking scalies, man.
Enemies,
Leave him alone,
armor,
bro!
weapons, and the huge snowy vistas in this game all look fantastic. And as is expected at this point, Jeremy Soul's soundtrack, perfection.
So
They even wrote a whole
fucking
language for the game. And the main theme is written in both that and English, with identical meanings and rhymes in both.
Wow.
Factions are back, and this time you can actually join them again. There's also a massive civil war going on, and you can only pick one side. Choice. And there's genuinely compelling arguments on both sides. Nuance. What was going on? However, this is just a side quest, and as a result, not a massive amount of time and effort went into it. It's generally considered a bit rushed and lacking in depth. Also, first on Todd's agenda with this game, the engine. At this point, Gamebryo had gotten a bit of a subpar reputation.
Yeah.
Quite outdated, with notable jank. Okay, let's actually bring this thing into the 21st century.
Come
boys.
on, man. It's wheezing and breaking. It's melted. Oh.
And they'd gotten to work on building and improving it. They slapped the
I can't believe it's been 15 years almost and we're still using it, by the way.
name the creation engine on, and hope for a
It's
clean
criminal,
slate.
man.
Despite the upgrades and rebranding, and this wasn't fooling anyone. The engine is still crusty, and as a result of its limitations,
Yeah.
this is what a massive, countrywide civil war looks like in Skyrim. Also, the jank in ragdolls, still incredible.
Amazing.
The map, not massive, but very dense, and a lot of fun to explore. The graphics, not as groundbreaking as Oblivion, but pretty.
Wait, hold on, go back. Used to be cool, racist. Wait, why are the Somerset Isles racist? Excuse me?
A lot of fun to explore.
Racist,
the graphics, not as groundbreaking as Oblivion, but pretty decent. This time, the new engine allows dynamic lighting and shadows, better physics and ragdolls, and an improved animation system. And NPCs no longer look like melted cheese. Gameplay-wise, enemy scaling is still here, but much better. This time, it has minimum and maximum levels depending on location, so nothing is too hard or too easy. Better combat with smoother animations, cinematic kill moves, and improved magic casting. Dual wielding, dragons, pretty cool. And that awkward dialogue zoom from Oblivion finally gone.
One of the things you've solved is the old crap zoom into characters' faces when they start talking to you.
Solved as in took it out.
Yes.
Yeah, solved.
Some elements of the AI are also improved. The NPC's line of sight now comes directly out of their eyeballs.
Wow.
Just like real life.
That's crazy.
This also means you can now pick up a bucket, slap it on someone's head, and blind them completely. Realism.
Amazing.
They'll also now
You don't get that in 2025, by the way.
search for you if you're using stealth. However, the AI here, not amazing. Just launched
Thank you, Todd.
a massive fireball and wiped out half a group of bandits from behind a tiny rock. They'll conduct a massive manhunt for you, and then forget about everything in about 15 seconds.
Easy clap.
Immersive indeed.
Yeah! The kill cams are kind of amazing. I really like that they adapted that from Fallout.
I'm going to find whoever did this.
However, in a few cases, Oblivion's AI is actually better. Turns out, this time round, Todd's groundbreaking and immersive Radiant AI had been dialed back a bit, and NPCs in Skyrim now rarely, if ever, actually talk to each other. outside of a few scripted moments.
Skibidi was fine until you rizzed along. Simpire was chill AF.
They also...
I don't remember that. Skibbity Riz! The brain rot version. They revived an old meme, man.
Love talking over each other.
I'm always interrupting people.
Also, again, a ton of NPCs here are essential.
Ma'am, please die, grandmother! Oh, she's essential. Are you serious?
Todd's formula for game design was simple. Simplification. What can you cut? Streamline, trim the fat, and make this meat lean. And this didn't change for Skyrim. And the first thing on the chopping block? The character system. Attributes? Don't need them, mate. And in Skyrim, they're completely gone.
Yeah.
Instead, players just choose to improve either health, stamina, or magicka on level ups. Classes and birth signs? Don't need them either. Skip.
I thought that sucked. Like, genuinely, Again, dumb down doesn't mean bad, but like... Do you really need to dumb it down? Yeah, I would have liked attributes in Skyrim. Compared to, like, Oblivion and frickin' Morrowind.
You didn't remove enough last time. Acrobatics, athletics, hand-to-hand, and more. In that bin, now.
Yeah,
now let's add a
fuck
perk
that
system.
shit.
But no need to get too creative here. If you can't think of something cool, number go up will work just fine. And they were finished. All of this results in no strategy to character creation and leveling, and different characters and playthroughs that feel very samey. The armor. In Oblivion, it's a bit more involved. It was split into helmet, greaves, cuirass, gauntlets, and boots,
And that's
alongside a clothing and robe layer. However, all of this was far too confusing, so Todd decides to dumb it down. The greaves and cuirass, combine them. The clothing and robe layer can go entirely. Also, armor and weapons in Oblivion would get damaged over time, with the player either having to pay for repairs or repairing them themselves with the armor skill. But in
That's stupid, because in Fallout you... Yeah, in Fallout you still have to repair stuff.
Skyrim, no more. They also remove staffs, ability enchantments, NPC dialogue disposition, and the entire spellcrafting system gone without a trace.
Sad.
The writing. Emil Paliarulo is head writer again, and as a result, things are not great. The main quest, dragons bad, and they're back. A grave existential threat.
By my calculations, we have 5 years until the world ends. Fix it! Now!
But other than right at the start of the game, and then a bit later on at a small tower, the dragons don't really actually bother anyone. In the main quest line, 90% of the time you're either clearing a dungeon, fighting a dragon, or searching for a powerful word. Side quests.
Again, nobody played Skyrim for the main quest, man. It literally didn't matter. You were there for like the actual game itself.
Are a massive downgrade.
And exploring.
In Oblivion, there are murder mysteries, paintings you can enter, dreams, and so on. Skyrim, not so much. Some good stuff here and there, but they're few and far between. A ton of them basically being fetch this, or that guy. NPCs in Oblivion acknowledge your actions as you progress. You just helped save town down the road. Fair play, mate. Let me get you a pint. In Skyrim, just saved the planet from world-ending dragons.
Nah, no one cares.
Yeah, alright, mate. No one asked. Also, you're fighting in a massive civil war, and the main difference in outcome is the guards looking slightly different.
I don't know, they all kind of look the same.
You just slaughtered the whole continent's emperor. It makes literally no difference at all.
Yep.
Nobody cares.
Yeah,
Add some boring dialogue, bland characters with no personality.
Do you get to the Cloud District very often?
Still game of the year, though. I don't know, it's impressive, genuinely.
Oh, what am I saying? Of course you don't.
And Emil called it a day.
I'm done. That's it. I'm out.
Then there's the general issues of the game. In Morrowind and Oblivion, factions are scattered across the map and in different cities. Here, they're isolated to one city each. Quest markers are back again, and are now even more prominent on screen. However, this time you can actually turn them off. Nice. But here's the thing. Due to the game's butchered journaling system, it's almost impossible for you to actually work out what to do or where to go without them, making this option completely pointless.
I think that the immersion that markers bring to the game is actually detrimental. World of Warcraft proved that. People actually read quest text and talked to each other in an MMO like World of Warcraft and in other MMOs like it that didn't have quest markers until a certain point. And then people started saying it was too difficult and people stopped talking to each other. Yeah. You mean the improved version? Did I not say that? Well, you know what I mean. Like, I think that quest markers ruin immersion. I think it's a bummer. I think that having to figure out where Southwest is and where Northwest is and figuring out how to, get there, it makes it more immersive. Old RuneScape treasure hunts had to actually perform math. Yeah, RuneScape as well. I didn't even think of that one. Lack of quest markers would just piss me off most of the time. I think there could be like a median where you could create like an area. Like once you get close to an area, maybe you get like a small marker that tells you a vague... I don't know. I'm kind of like flip-floppy on it because on one hand, I find it annoying when it's so vague that I can't figure it out for myself, but at the same time, like having it baby you along a lot is really annoying too. Witcher 3 did it good. I haven't played Witcher 3 in like 6-7 years. I think it's like vague, right? Where you don't like immediately know exactly where to go.
At this point, even Bethesda could no longer ignore the bugs. So for Skyrim, they dedicated a whole team pre-launch to hunting them down. It worked perfectly.
Beautiful. Wow!
Skyrim came out in late 2011.
Beautiful.
This is also around the time YouTube begins to explode in popularity. And now bug compilations are popping up, and that famous Bethesda charm is being broadcast worldwide. Some bugs more charming than others. But it's alright. Bethesda kick back and relax, because at this point, they know fans will patch the game for them. And modders churn out the unofficial patch within a few months. And for the third
by the way,
time in a row, some things Todd had claimed about his new game pre-launch, debatable.
I don't deserve this kind of shabby treatment.
See, they'd already perfected Radiant AI, so Todd decided on a new thing to show off, Radiant Quests.
Ooh,
and Skyrim would feature an infinite amount of them, he tells us. We'd never run out of things to do, and he's not actually wrong.
It's probably a total waste of my time.
However, he also mentions Radiant Story.
Right, so we have this new piece of tech called Radiant Story.
This would be a system where these Radiant quests...
I hate it when people use buzzwords. AI, Radiant, I don't know, like, dynamic. Like, big bro, it's not what you think it is. It's just a marketing tool, man.
...would be dynamically generated based on the unique factors of your playthrough. Places you've discovered, quests you've completed, and previous interactions. Spend a lot of time with a particular NPC, they'll probably hire you for a hit, or you'll be hired to hit them. Todd tells us this system will also lead to strange random encounters. Just dropped a sword in the middle of a pub. Chances are, two guys are getting into a scrap over it.
That never happened, man.
Questions.
That never happened.
Good at a particular skill, a random man may even come up to you and ask for training for it, or challenge you to a duel.
Training, eh? The real question is, can you fight?
Yeah!
None of this ever happened.
So that was a f***ing lie.
Yeah!
What we get instead is an endless wave of generic, procedurally generated, cookie-cutter quests that spawn basic, nameless NPCs into the game to kill or steal from. Fantastic. Also,
logs and trees and all the way up to distant mountains, and if you've played our previous stuff, you know that mountain is not just a backdrop. You can walk all the way to the top of that mountain.
That was a freaking lie.
True, but elusive. Half the mountains in this game have nothing of interest on them.
Yeah.
Well, this sucks.
and there's no actual system to climb them.
Yeah.
You'll have to stanky leg your way up a metric ton of ragged rocks, due to them not having actual pathways.
Stanky leg, push. Stanky leg, push.
Also,
Stanky leg, push.
Todd definitely mentioned a working economy system.
We have a working economy that you can either do, you can actually sabotage this windmill if you want.
He's a liar! That never happened!
So
am I going to be able to participate in that economy?
Slightly. It's kind of,
Naturally, on launch, people want to see this groundbreaking mechanic in action, so they try to decimate the local economy by attacking the local sawmill. Nothing happens, because this feature never existed in the game in any
who would have
form.
thought?
The modding scene for Skyrim, absolutely massive. Immersion mods, quest mods, survival mods, graphics mods, other.
Skyrim is still played to this day. How many people are playing Skyrim right now? Let's see. Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim Special Edition. God, there's so many broken up ones though. Skyrim. Elder Scrolls Skyrim. There's like Special Edition and then there's Skyrim. Okay, let's take the Special Edition. 24,000 people are playing right this second. That's a lot. Yeah, like what the heck? Yeah, Special Edition is the latest version. I understand. I'm just trying to think like Skyrim has 72,000 mods and 60,000 of them are boobies.
Mods.
Wow!
Todd and the boys
Holy crap, that was not scripted, by the way. Holy.
see this and start brainstorming.
No way!
And a few years after release, Bethesda unveils their brand new idea, paid mods on the Steam Workshop. They tell us it's to financially compensate modders, but then it comes out that mod creators receive just 25% of the revenue here. Valve get 30%, and then 40% kicked up to the big guy.
Wow,
Also,
thanks, Todd.
due to the complete lack of moderation, the majority of mods on here, amazing. A ton are plagiarized from the Nexus, and even from the same Steam Workshop.
Oh, yeah.
Naturally, the whole thing is incredibly unpopular, and Bethesda and Valve are forced to backpedal.
Yep, they destroyed it.
Despite the consistent dumbing down, removal of features, roleplay regression, terrible writing, relentless jank, and honeyed words from Todd.
Yes.
Again, the game does insanely well.
So much money.
Within 2 days, it sells 3 million copies.
Insane.
A week, 7 million. A month, 10 million. Over $500 million in the bank.
Holy!
And Bethesda Game Studios is now an institution. Skyrim, a cultural icon. To many, now the face of the open world.
I remember going to school and everybody wouldn't stop making like the arrow in the knee joke. Oh my god. It was so annoying.
Old RPG. Todd's 4th major game and his 5th Game of the Year award.
Thank you so much,
Wow!
everybody at Spike TV, everybody who supported this
Clappies!
game, the whole team at Bethesda Game Studios. We've poured ourselves into this.
At this point, the man just couldn't miss. God
Yeah,
Howard,
right.
people even say. Todd is now 4 for 4. A literal god. He could do no wrong.
No! That's a lie! Is he gonna cover 76 and 4 and Starfield, man? Is he gonna do that too? Chat, I love to hate Bethesda, I really do. My 74-year-old dad has over 7,000 hours in Skyrim, uses a ton of mods, and he plays it several days a week still. I'm telling you, there's still a massive, like, modding culture to this. Everybody loves it, man. Also, chat, we have to do the obligatory video for this. Put your hands up right now.
I'm Todd Howard, Toddhoward, game director for...
Who's laughing now, bitch?
This is an enormous, dynamic world.
Close my eyes.
The game has over 200 dungeons, all handcrafted. And one of the great things about having a fully dynamic game engine is all of this just works.
Just works! Tell me lies. Tell me sweet little lies.
These NPCs are not scripted.
Tell me lies. Can't disguise.
You can walk all the way to the top.
Tell me sweet little lies.
Go where you want. Do whatever you want. This is the golden age of games. Make the player proud. Make yourself proud that you made it. Make your player proud that he bought it. And it works. It actually works perfectly.
It works perfectly. You really
understand? Over 9,000 objects. We actually have recorded around 1,000 of the most popular names for him to say.
We have over 40,000 lines of recorded dialogue.
40,000 lines! It just works. Close my eyes.
You just put what you want in your hands, and that's really the character you're playing. We made a real one.
Wait, what?
Mods transferred, played, and shared for free on Xbox One. And let me be clear, actually, that feature is not coming out at launch.
Todd.
Fallout 3 will have 200 endings. I remember that being said as well. Tell me lies. Lies.
Thanks. Thank you, TV.
Tell me lies. Tell me sweet little lies.
Like I said, it's great to be back here working with
Oh my god, say it! Say it! Say the line!
We really hope you
say the line! Say the line.
I was the kid. I was writing games when I was, 12, whatever. And the other kids in the block would say, I'm gonna play quarterback for the Cowboys, and I'd be like, I'm gonna make video games, and everyone's gonna play them. Like, you dork. Go back to the chess club. Who's laughing now? Yes, I was in the chess club.
I was laughing now! Oh my god, dude. I love to hate this guy.
Hello.
Random spawn. Yeah.
Random spawn. Oh, I fucking love this guy. Oh my god. We laughed and we cried. He's such a little freaking liar. What a piece of... I'm gonna strangle him. Chat. God, that video's fantastic. Thank you, Big Boss. Also, I have to link this as well. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Todd is love. Todd is life. He's such a giga chat. He doesn't give a frick.